What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. This is going to be part 2 of the anxiety series. Thank you guys so much for your support during the first podcast. I didn't expect a lot of people to actually want to do that, or to want to hear that. Sorry, it was crazy the fact that a lot of people were like, "Yeah, that'd be great," and a lot of people actually got excited for it. So I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." So we're gonna keep at this. So today's podcast might be a little bit shorter, so that'll be good. But today we're going to be talking about something very important. Today we're going to be talking about how to love somebody with anxiety. Now, this can be many different ways of depending on who the person is for you. For example, if this person is your boyfriend or your girlfriend, if this person is your friend, if this person is your best friend, a family member, it can be anybody. But the biggest, I wouldn't say issue, but the most common thing in when it comes to anxiety is that for some people it's difficult to love their partner who has anxiety. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of aspects on why it's hard sometimes and what you can do so that they can feel way better. Just so you can understand a little bit what they're going through, just in case if your boyfriend or your girlfriend has anxiety. So now I'm going to talk about this in my perspective, as if I was trying to love my girlfriend if she had anxiety. Now you can think of this any way you want. Say if you have a boyfriend or if you have a girlfriend, you can think of it any way you want. But I'm gonna talk about this in using the she pronoun. Okay. So cool. So how to love someone with anxiety. Now, in the last podcast, we covered really what is anxiety and what goes on inside of a person's mind. I talked about, for example, and a lot of relationships can use this too. They can listen to that and be like, oh, so that's what my partner is going through inside of his head when he or she has anxiety. So now we're going to talk about the other perspective. Now, how do I love the person who has anxiety? So there's a lot of really important things, and each one of these things is very important, and you always need to take them into account because, anxiety is something that is hard, and it's just not easy at all to deal with it. So we're going to be discussing a couple things that you can do as a good and faithful partner for your partner who has anxiety. So here we go. So you have to know that anxiety is something that sometimes dominates their thoughts and what they say. So what does this mean? I covered it in the last podcast if you want to go take a listen to it so you can know what I'm talking about. But in reality, just a quick little summary, anxiety is something that takes over your mind. It's something that dominates your thoughts. You may say, I don't want to think about this. And when your anxiety is not hitting you, you won't think about that thing. For example, say, oh, my girlfriend did this the other day and it seemed like she was a little off. When you don't have anxiety, you're just okay. But when your anxiety is hitting you, you're just questioning that thing. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to think she's cheating, or I don't want to think she's having feelings for someone else, or I don't want to think something negative per se. And anxiety makes you think that. So, for example, if my partner had anxiety, if she had anxiety, I, as the partner who's going to help her when she has anxiety, I have to know, hey, I can't get mad at what she thinks, or I can't get mad at how she feels or her thoughts. I know her anxiety is dominating her mind, and I need to be cautious. I need to be gentle with what I say, because anything I do can make it worse. People, when their anxiety is hitting them, they're sensitive, and this doesn't mean they're butthurt. I know a lot of people say oh, she's just getting butthurt. No, I talked about this in the previous podcast. Anxiety is something serious, and it's something that can kill your self-esteem, and it's just hard. If your partner ever feels as if you might not like them, or as if they're not enough, don't get mad at that. That's not them saying that they're a lot of couples. If say, for example, if my girlfriend said that to me, If she says, oh, I feel like you don't like me anymore, or I feel like you don't love me anymore, or I feel like I'm not enough for you, I feel like, or she says like, I'm scared that you might leave me for someone else. The worst possible thing you could do is get mad at her for saying that, because a lot of stuff that happens in relationships, the person who receives those phrases from the partner who has anxiety, they get upset and they're like, how could you possibly doubt me? That's the dumbest thing you could do. Stop doubting me. It gets me mad when you say that. It makes me feel like you don't even trust me. No. I know it may be annoying. I know it may suck. And they know that you won't leave them. Or sometimes they feel a little bit doubtful. That's fine. That's part of anxiety. Because they feel insecure. They feel scared. The worst possible thing you could do is get mad at them. Because they could feel as if their feelings or their thoughts or them feeling insecure about themselves or them having anxiety in general bothers you. And that's the worst possible thing you could do to somebody. So you need to be very gentle. You need to be very cautious. You can't just, if they say that to you, you can't be like, no, you're stupid for thinking that. What the heck? That makes me mad when you say that. Like, no, like that's the worst thing you could do. Instead, what you could do is reassure them, which brings me to my next part. And in my opinion, each one of these things that I'm going to cover is very important, but this is the most important one because this is the only one that can actually make a difference on the spot. This is the only one that can actually really, really, really help your partner on the spot. Reassurance. Reassurance is the most biggest thing in this. Reassurance is key. So now, what is reassurance? Reassurance is you reminding your partner or anybody really how much they mean to you, how amazing they are, and just saying a bunch of really good things about them and really good things that you feel about them towards them. In reality, you're just saying a lot of things that will make them feel good, but you're saying things that are true. You never say something that's false because that could be misleading. You always have to say, when you're reassuring, you always have to say truths on the way that you feel. For example, covering what I just mentioned like a couple minutes ago, if my partner came to me telling me that she feels like she's not enough, that she feels like I'm losing feelings, or she feels like I might leave her for someone else, like I said, the worst thing you could possibly do is get mad at them. That is the worst thing you could do to their self-esteem. Instead, what you could do is if she comes at you and says, I don't feel like I'm enough, say something like, hey, like calm them down, first of all. Make sure that, try to get them in a good place. Make them chill in reality, because when you have anxiety, like your heart is racing and your thoughts are going crazy and everything feels like it's going by fast. Try to calm them down. Be like, hey, no, it's okay. You are enough. You are enough. You mean the world to me. And you should never doubt that. You know, like you always have to say stuff that is true, stuff that you feel is true. Like you could say stuff like if she says that she doesn't feel like she's enough, you can remind her how amazing she is to you. You can say something like, hey, you mean the world to me and you're the most beautiful girl that I have ever encountered. You are just perfect in my eyes, and everything you do just makes me fall in love a lot more with you every single day. And there's nothing you have to worry about. You should never ever have to worry about me leaving you or thinking something bad like that. Everything I just said is an example of what you could say for reassurance. Now, is that all you could say? No. Say your partner comes at you and says, oh my God, I feel like you're losing feelings for me. I feel like you're going to leave me for somebody else. Like I said, don't get mad at them and don't tell them to stop thinking that, because that's the dumbest thing that you could think. And that don't get mad. You know, they have anxiety. They want to hear you say something good. They want to hear you contradict what they have to say. They want to hear you say, no, I love you. You're the only person that I love, and you're the only person that I care about. You're the only person that I look at the way that I look at you. You're the only person who I feel what I feel. Like, you're the only person who gets this kind of love from me. You're the only person who I care about. You're the only person who I love. You're the only person, and you should never have to doubt that. Why? Because I love you only. You can say stuff like that. You always have to say something that is good and something that is true. For example, say that, let's use this as an example. Say that, pretend you're a girl and you're dating a guy. Now, you as the girl, pretend that you don't have anxiety. Pretend that you don't have to deal with the overthinking, and you don't have to deal with the negative thoughts that come with anxiety. You don't have to deal with anxiety at all. Okay? Now, pretend that your boyfriend has the anxiety, has the negative thoughts, gets panic attacks, has to deal with a lot of negativity throughout the day. Pretend that that's the case. Now, let's also pretend that whenever you, the girl, whenever you feel bad, pretend that he reassures you in the most amazing way, and that he always knows the right thing to say, and that he just makes you feel good no matter what is the situation. Okay? That's what you're supposed to make him feel. Okay? What do I mean by this? You are supposed to make him feel as if anything you say, well, obviously not everything will work, but you have to make it as if 97 or 98% of the things you say change his mood. For example, you always have to know the right thing to say. You always have to be very, very careful, and you always have to be very, very gentle. Because anything negative that you might do adds up to the negative pile of thoughts that they have inside of their heads. And, like I said, that's the worst possible thing you can do. Don't get mad at them. And if it's hard for you to show emotion, I'm sorry. But I mean, your partner is struggling. You need to be there for them. And when it comes to reassurance isn't just a one-time thing. It's not just a little oh, don't worry, I love you, it's okay, you're totally fine, and then not say anything at all for the rest of the time. I'm not saying you stay quiet and don't talk to them. It's not like you reassure them once and then you're done. You have to reassure them a lot. Because imagine you're dealing with the house that is on fire. Pretend that this is your boyfriend's or your partner's brain, Pretend that the fire is the anxiety and the negative thoughts. Now, if you get a big bucket of water and you throw that to the house, congratulations, you killed some of the fire, but you didn't kill it all. This is what I mean. You have to make sure, I'm not saying that you're the one who's in charge of putting his anxiety out. He could do it. Sometimes it's hard for him to do it, though, or for the partner to do it. Please excuse me. I'm jumping into different kinds of pronouns, but I'm going to use this pronoun for now so you guys can understand what I'm saying. For example, to the girls, I'm saying this to the girls because usually it's harder for the girls who are dating guys with anxiety. So I'm going to say this to you girls. You aren't in charge of killing his anxiety completely. No. He plays a big role in this too, because as he's feeling the anxiety, he's already trying to make it all go away. And lots of guys and girls too, but lots and lots of guys just need a helping hand from their partner. And this doesn't make them weak. This doesn't mean, oh, you can't do anything by yourself. No, like I said, don't ever get mad at them for feeling anxious. They can't control it. They're not doing it on purpose, and they're not thinking that to make you feel bad, or they're not saying that to get you upset. No, you need to be very gentle. You need to understand that they're sensitive. Understand that they're not feeling good, and you just have to know the right thing to say, something that you feel will make them feel good. And and when you're dealing with anxiety, their thoughts are going to be they're going to be they're just going to be going back and forth, the negative thoughts. And you need to keep on reassuring them. You need to calm them down and be like, hey, I love you. And you need to keep saying stuff, being like, hey, it's okay, I'm here for you, I love you so much. And will it be hard the first couple times? Yeah, it will. But you just need to know. You need to be compassionate. You need to understand they have anxiety. They're not doing this to try to make it a burden on you. I'm so sorry. I just hit the mic. But, If you feel like your partner's anxiety is a burden on you and it annoys you and it just makes you mad, honestly, just don't even, like, just don't. That's just literally just don't. Like, it literally upsets me when I hear, it literally makes me mad when I hear that partners get upset at their partner for having anxiety. Like, they call them weak, they call them stupid. Like, it's happened to me before. Like, in one of my past relationships, like, whenever I would feel anxious, she would be like, oh, you're stupid. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly feel. And, like, it was just degrading. You know, it sucks. Like, I know how it feels, and it's the worst feeling. And just please don't ever do that to your partner. Please. That kills their self-esteem. That makes their anxiety worse, and it actually makes them feel like you don't love them and you don't care about them. Be very careful about what you say, and always say something that is good, that is reassuring, something that is full of love. Let them know how you feel about them. Tell them what you think when you wake up in the morning, or tell them how you think of them throughout the day, or tell them how much they mean to you. Tell them how special they are to you. Tell them that you love them. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them a story about how, like, if you're in love, tell them how you fell in love with them. Tell them the reason why you fell in love with them. Or tell them something that you love about them. Or tell them if they do a hobby or a sport, tell them, hey, you're so good at what you do. Or tell them, hey, like, you're so good at playing guitar or something. Or, hey, like, you're just so amazing. Like, tell them something good, something that they'll want to hear, something that you feel will make them good. And like I said, it's not a one-time thing. Don't just say it once and then back off and be like, whew, I don't have to deal with this anymore. No, you need to keep on going. They're going to start feeling better, and they're going to need the helpful hand from you. And if you just extend your hand and let them grab it while your hand is loose, they're going to fall, and it's going to get worse. They're extending their hand out to you so you can help them. They're already pushing themselves up from the hole of anxiety, for example. They're already pushing themselves out of the hole, but they're extending their hand because they feel like they could use a helpful hand from you. And if you just grab their hand and hold it really loose, or don't even grab it at all, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. You need to grip that hand, reassure them, love them, tell them a bunch of cute things, a bunch of things that will make them feel good and help them get out of the hole. And trust me, it's not just you doing the work, because a lot of couples get upset because they're like, oh, it feels like I'm the one who has to do all the work whenever you feel anxious. You know, in some cases, it is. In some cases, it isn't. For example, my girlfriend's lucky because whenever I feel anxious, I acknowledge it and I'm like, I need to get myself out of here. And I do whatever I can to get myself out of it, but I do need a helpful hand from her. She's lucky that I'm not the kind of person to be like, I'm not going to do anything. She has to get me out. That's when it doesn't work. Like, if you're hearing this and you're the partner with anxiety and your partner doesn't have anxiety, you can't be selfish about it. You need to acknowledge, hey, I have anxiety. I need to do my part. She can help me. She's going to help me, but I need to do my part also. Okay? Now, switching gears back over to the perspective of the person loving someone with anxiety. You need to grip their hand and help them get out of the hole. Okay? You need to be there for them. You need to listen to them. Call them, text them, or if they need space, give them the space, but don't be harsh on them. If something's wrong and they don't want to tell you, if they want to tell you later, that's fine. That's okay. If you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, and they tell you, no, it's okay. Can I just tell you in a bit? I'm not in a good place right now. That's fine. Let them. It's fine. If you know there's something wrong, don't ask if they're okay. They want you to know. Like, if you can tell that something's wrong, don't be like, what's wrong? Or, well, sorry, no, ignore that. If you know something's wrong, don't ask them if they're okay if you know they're not okay. Ask them what's wrong. And if they tell you, I don't want to talk about it. Can you give me a little bit of time? I'm not feeling that good. That's okay. He's not being petty, or, yeah, sorry, I'm going to say that I'm going to say it using this pronoun. he's not being petty. He's not telling you, oh, like, can you give me a bit? Like, I don't want to talk about it right now. He's not saying it so you can keep digging, so he can like be like, oh, I want her to keep like asking me, so I can actually like tell her no. He's not doing that. I know that in girls sometimes that's the mentality, but he's not doing that. He is not doing that. He is genuinely saying, hold on, like, let me simmer down with my thoughts for a second, and then I'll tell you. He's not saying, no, I'm not going to tell you at all. If he says, no, I'm not going to tell you at all, you need to let him know that that's bad. You need to tell him, hey, the worst possible thing you could do is hold it all in. It's toxic and it's unhealthy. But anyways, don't be like, hey, I said what's wrong. Hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And don't get mad at them. Be gentle. Be easy. For example, if my girlfriend was sad about something, or if she was mad about something, I'll be gentle. And I'm gentle. Like, I don't come at her and I'm not rude about it. In reality, like, I'm not rude, and you're not supposed to be rude about it. When somebody doesn't feel so good, they're sensitive. They feel sensitive, and you need to be gentle. Like, if my girlfriend isn't feeling so good and she's feeling sad, I come at her soft. I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you. What's going on? You need to be caring. You need to be like that. You need to be gentle. You need to know the right way to talk to your partner. Don't be rude. Don't be harsh. And don't try to force anything. Do your part. Reassure them. Love them. Okay? And if they keep on thinking negative thoughts, that's fine. Don't get mad at that. Keep going. Keep reassuring them. Keep loving them. You know, a lot of times that's just all we need. We just want to hear you say a bunch of good things that you love about us, or that you admire about us, or the cute things that you feel for us or think about us. We just want to hear a lot of it. We just want to get spammed and like hit in the face with all that love. That's all we want sometimes. It's the best feeling. When we have anxiety, when our anxiety is hitting us, that's all we want to hear. It's all we want. Okay? So, what else can we cover here? That reassurance is just key. Like, when someone with anxiety asks like something like, do you love me? Or if they ask you, are you sure? Or just like everything I just covered, don't get angry. Like, I have anxiety, okay? And I get these thoughts too. Like, trust me, we're trying hard. But like, sometimes we just need reassurance. Like, deep down, sometimes we feel like nobody likes us. Not even you. Like, I know it's silly. Like, you might be like, are you serious? Like, I love you. I'm in a relationship with you. Yes. Sometimes I feel like you don't even love me. It's silly. But that doesn't stop us. We know that it's silly, but it doesn't stop us. We're still learning. You know, sorry. Learning isn't really the word. We're still dealing with it. Excuse me. And it's hard. It's something very, very, very difficult. You know, the worst possible thing you could do to somebody who has anxiety is leave. You need to stay. Because, I mean, I feel this too. Like I would be scared that my anxiety would scare my partner away. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want my partner to one day be like, you know what? I don't like your anxiety. It's a burden on me. It gets me upset. It gets me mad. I'm just going to leave you. Like, if that's the case, if you're in a relationship and your partner's anxiety bothers you, it pisses you off, how dare you? You're not supposed to do that. First of all, you're supposed to help them as their partner. And if it upsets you, that's your own problem. That's a problem with your morale. That makes you really, really selfish. Because it makes you selfish because you're going to want to be like, if you don't feel so good, you're going to want that reassurance. But if they want the reassurance when they're not feeling good, it upsets you. Like, that's just being hypocritical. That makes you really that makes you just really selfish. And that's just not the way to go. It's really important for you to know that all they want you to do is just stay and be there for them and support them and love them. And trust me, when someone has anxiety, they're not overreacting. So this brings me to the end of the podcast. Be careful the way that you talk to them. Be careful how you address anything. Be gentle, be caring, don't be rude, don't be harsh. Don't come at us like a train and be like, hey, I'm mad at you. Or don't get mad at what they think. Sometimes because of their anxiety could make them think anything. Anything. I emphasize, you literally think of anything that you might think your partner might not think about you. Something negative. They could think that. Because that's how anxiety works. Sometimes they don't think that. But be prepared. Because sometimes they'll get thoughts that you might be like, what? Why are you thinking this about me? No. You need to be gentle. You need to reassure them. Be like, hey, no, don't think that. I love you too much for me to ever even consider doing that to you. Or I would never do such a thing. Or stuff like that. Be careful, be gentle, and just know that anxiety sucks. Understand your partner. If your partner needs reassurance, give it to them. It's not a one-time thing. They need a lot of reassurance. If you're on FaceTime with your partner while your partner has anxiety, pay attention to them. Sit down and look at them, because sometimes that's all we want. If you're wandering around and you're not even sitting down looking at your partner face, phone to phone, I should say, because you're not really looking at each other face to face on FaceTime. Talk to them. And if you're with them in person, same thing. Sit down and be there with them. Don't be wandering around the kitchen talking to them, because all we want is just for you to pay attention to us and listen to what we have to say. Because if you're doing something else while talking to us, we feel like you're not paying attention. And it makes our anxiety worse. When your partner has anxiety, you need to sit down, you need to listen to them, help them, reassure them, love them, and do whatever you can so you can help them get out of that hole. Awesome, guys. So if you have any more questions on anything that I may have not covered, or if you have any more questions on, hey, how can I reassure my partner in this way? It's something you may have not covered. Just hit me up. My social media links are going to be attached down below in the description box. So yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking with me to the end of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we're going to have one out in a couple days also. Cool. So thank you guys so much. And remember, be gentle, love your partner, and reassure them as much as you can. Stay safe, everybody.